afternoon, everybody, and welcome to all colleagues from across Cheshire and Merseyside. My name's Helen Bromley, and I'm the Director of Public Health at Cheshire West and Chester Council, and I'm the Lead Director for Workforce Wellbeing and Development across Cheshire and Merseyside. So just want to advise you that mics are muted until we go into the interactive session later on. And it would be really good if you can put your name, organisation and job title into the chat. Also, I'd encourage all of you to pop in any questions or comments into the chat as we go through the agenda today. That'll be really good. And then, of course, we've got the interactive session a little later on. Please engage with the event via the LinkedIn platform. There's a link for that, obviously. And please note, we're going to record the session, which will be shared with you afterwards. So Champs Connect, Thrive and Learn in the middle of all of that. Today is an opportunity to come together to learn about our unique approach to workforce wellbeing and development and connect with colleagues. Alongside this event, we run a programme of CPD events that are all promoted in Collaborate, our electronic newsletter, which you can sign up for on the Champs Collective website. We've got a really packed agenda today, so we're going to motor through. Obviously, we're here today to launch the Collaborative's Workforce Wellbeing and Development Model, Connect, Learn, Thrive. As Directors of Public Health, we recognise that no two public health careers look the same. Our routes into practice and progression and the challenges we face are all shaped by personal, professional and system factors. So we hope this session gives you some space to reflect on your own well-being and your own professional and personal development. We want to support people at different stages of the journey, acknowledge the realities of working in complex systems and explore what helps us sustain ourselves and grow over time. So before we start, here's a brief mention of my career journey, which I was asked to do. I've been told I've had a colourful career. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, a little bit about me. If you'd asked me at the start of my career where I would end up, I don't think I would have said Director of Public Health. I started as a nurse because my parents thought I needed the discipline. I was focused on caring for individuals, but very quickly I became curious about a bigger question. Why are people getting ill in the first place, and what can we do to stop it? And that question has shaped my entire career. So, as I said, I began my professional life in nursing. That gave me a strong practical foundation and a deep understanding of people's health needs. It was a privilege to care for patients directly, but it also opened my eyes to the patterns behind ill health, the social, economic and environmental factors that influence outcomes long before someone reaches a hospital. That curiosity led me to move into academia, where I had the opportunity to explore those wider determinants of health in more depth. Through research and teaching, I developed a stronger grounding in evidence and theory, but also a passion for translating that knowledge into real-world impact. On the back of that, I moved into international public health, which was a particularly formative chapter in my journey. Working across different countries and systems challenged my assumptions and broadened my perspectives. I have very bittersweet memories of some of those international assignments, particularly 6 years in Syria, but also China, India, Mexico, Malawi, lots and lots of different memories. It reinforced how deeply health is shaped by context and how important it is to listen, adapt and work in partnership with communities. It also did deepen my commitment to addressing health inequalities on a global as well as a local scale. Bringing those experiences back into the UK, I moved into public health leadership roles, working across the NHS, local government and with a wide range of partners. A consistent theme throughout my career has been collaboration, because the challenges we face in public health are too complex to solve in isolation. I've always believed strongly in evidence-based decision-making, using data and research to guide our approach, but also the importance of lived experience. It's that combination that helps us design interventions that are not just effective, but meaningful and equitable. So in my current role, I have the privilege of working at a strategic level to improve population health. That means balancing immediate challenges with long-term prevention, influencing policy and ensuring that improving health and reducing inequalities remains at the heart of everything I do. Looking back, my journey from nursing to academia to international public health and into leadership has been driven by a simple but powerful belief. The way you live should never determine how healthy your life can be. And our public health workforce at every level is instrumental in helping shape the health of our communities. So my call to all of us is this: let's invest in our people, in ourselves, in all of you, support and value our workforce and create the conditions where everyone across healthcare and communities can thrive and lead change. Let's build a workforce that is not only skilled and resilient, but empowered to challenge inequality, think differently, and act boldly. Because when we support our workforce to be at their best, we unlock the potential to transform lives, creating a future where everyone, everywhere has the opportunity not just to live, but to truly thrive. So that's just a little bit about me. So now to dive deeper into our shared approach to supporting the wellbeing and professional development of our public health community through Connect, Learn, Thrive. It exists because of a firmly held belief that happy, healthy, thriving public health workforce is the key to creating healthy communities. It brings together a set of shared principles, behaviours and practical opportunities endorsed by the CHAMPS directors. At its core, this is about ensuring that Cheshire and Merseyside is considered the very best place to practice public health. The ethos of Connect, Learn, Thrive is that peer support, connect, continuing professional development, learn, and a focus on well-being and kindness, thrive, are all essential for a rewarding and impactful career in public health. The CHAMPS Collaborative is where these three elements come together and work in tandem to produce the best results. We would not be where we are today without our Cheshire and Merseyside Cheshire and Merseyside Workforce Wellbeing and Development Programme, which is a major step forward for us. I'm so excited about it. And in particular, our dedicated group, which alongside other parts of the programme has been instrumental in the development of Connect, Learn, Thrive. So that's a short introduction from me. I'll now hand you over to Ryan, who's going to take us through some more slides. Ryan is our Communications and Social Marketing Manager in the CHAMPS support team, an amazing individual. So Ryan, over to you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Helen, for that overview, and I'm delighted to be here today to provide some more detail on how we've created Connect, Learn, Thrive, what it includes, and how we're bringing the approach to life. So next slide, please. So the idea for Connect, Learn, Thrive started by acknowledging that due to the unique way that we work in Cheshire and Merseyside with the CHAMPS Public Health Collaborative, there's an entire layer of extra tools and resources available to our public health community, alongside a particular focus on well-being, kindness, and creating the very best working conditions. So with this in mind, we took some time to understand what is already out there and available in Cheshire and Merseyside, as well as think about the specific cultural behaviours that really make us stand out. We also thought about what more is needed, any gaps that may be required to support further development, and how we can best present this so it's both engaging and accessible. We also didn't develop this in silo. We co-created Connect, Learn, Thrive with our dedicated workforce wellbeing and development group to make sure it will land well with our local teams. And finally, we took an iterative approach. So instead of waiting for perfect, we've pulled together everything we have. And no doubt, once it's out there in the system, it will really start to grow legs. And in a year's time, we'll have many, many more elements. Next slide, please. So the key question is, what is included in Connect, Learn, Thrive? And we have this really handy visual to showcase the range of tools and resources available. Some of you may be aware of everything that I'm showing here, or some of it may be new to you, and it's important to note that there's no perfect way to engage with Connect, Learn, Thrive. It's all down to how you wish to use the various tools and resources and what works best for you in your development. So we have the core development offers in the inside of the wheel, which is driven by the Champs Collaborative's Workforce Wellbeing and Development Programme and includes the Public Health Pathway, which we'll touch on later, the Specialist Public Health Portfolio Development Learning Hub and our Wellbeing Champions Network, and finally specific pilots and development opportunities. On the outer edge, you'll see the wider learning connection support that's not specifically driven by the workforce programme, but does complement it. This includes things like Count Your Mind for mental wellbeing support, our year-round programme of Connect, Learn, Thrive events, our communities of practice groups, and much more. So next slide, please. So how does this work in practice? So let me introduce you to Sally. So Sally has just joined one of the public health teams in Cheshire and Merseyside. She's been getting to grips with the job itself and the range of support offered to her by a local authority employer. But on her first day, she also received an email from the Champs support team telling her about the Champs Collaborative and Connect, Learn, Thrive. Her local workforce wellbeing champion also mentioned it to her when she had an introductory chat with them, and she recalls seeing Connect, Learn, Thrive being referenced in the supporting documents in the job description when she applied. So she starts by signing up to the Collaborate newsletter, and she checks out Altogether Inspired, as reducing health inequalities is a key part of her role. She reads some really great case studies, which has sparked her imagination for one of the projects she's leading. Sally's also a line manager, and she really identifies with the focus on wellbeing and kindness that is communicated as part of Connect, Learn, Thrive, and the idea that a happy, healthy and thriving public health workforce is key to creating healthier communities. A month later, she registers to attend a face-to-face Connect, Learn, Thrive event, where she learns a lot, but she also has the chance to network with her colleagues across the sub-region. She really enjoys this opportunity to get to know people, and it's at this event that she's encouraged to look into the Population Health Academy, as she's keen to strengthen her knowledge and leadership in population health. A few more months go by, and on LinkedIn, she reads about one of the communities of practice that meet monthly and is really closely linked to her specialist area of public health, which she ends up joining. It is also at this time that she discovers the public health pathway and starts to incorporate this into her personal development plan, as she would like to advance to the next stage of her career in the next year or so. So it's a year later now, and she's an active member of the Specialist Portfolio Development Learning Hub. She's become a wellbeing champion herself. She's even presenting at the Connect, Learn, Thrive event, and she's also just been accepted onto a leadership pilot that's been offered by the Champs Collaborative Workforce Wellbeing and Development Programme. So it's suffice to say, Sally's very happy that she took the time to engage with Connect, Learn and Thrive, as it's really contributed to her development and aided her success in the role. So it may be a shock Sally's not a real person. I thought it would just be a good example of how someone in Cheshire, Merseyside could use Connect, Learn, Thrive, and Sally's story is indeed unique, but hopefully it shows how people can engage with Connect, Learn, Thrive in different ways throughout their career and gives you a taste for how we would like this to be used across Cheshire and Merseyside. So next slide, please. So this is the final slide from me, which is all about how we're going to be bringing Connect, Learn, Thrive to life. So you'll see that we have a new brand and key messages, which again has been developed in co-creation with the Workforce Wellbeing and Development Group. And we also have some case studies from colleagues across Cheshire and Merseyside, all of which are on the Champs Public Health Collaborative website, and we will continue to update this. So we have a picture there of Tracy, who is in the Wirral Public Health team, who very kindly gave her time to shoot a video with us, and we also are soon to upload another video case study with a colleague from Cheshire West and Chester, and then alongside those videos we have the written case studies as well. So I really recommend having a look at the website and checking those out, because they're really, really inspiring, and there's some really great stories from across Cheshire and Merseyside. We'll also be publishing more information in our newsletter and social media channels, and we'll also be starting to use the Connect, Learn, Thrive brand for new offers moving forward. which brings us on to the public health career pathway. But I think that's enough for me now. So it's back to you, Helen. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ryan. It's a super story and lovely to see the development of some of our public health colleagues. Before I introduce Dr. Muna Abdelaziz, I just want to give a bit of a potted history of how we got to this point in Connect, Learn, Thrive. So a few years ago, we ran a pilot so that we could better understand the wellbeing and development needs of the public health workforce across the patch. And this, of course, was on the back of COVID, amongst other things, but a recognition that getting into public health and forging a pathway in public health can be really, really challenging. So we wanted to grow our own, if you like, across Cheshire and Merseyside and make sure people were able to access opportunities that are all around them. So we did the pilot, and since then, this work programme's grown massively to include dedicated offers like the Specialist Public Health Portfolio Development Learning Hub, I can never say that in one go, and pilot opportunities like Leader as Coach. So there's been a range of sort of work streams within the Connect, Learn, Thrive project that are absolutely growing legs. So we have Muna with us today, who is going to talk on a video for us. She's recorded a special message to introduce our workforce pathway. Muna's been instrumental in this work, and I'd like now just to pause and watch the video that Muna's kindly provided. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Muna Abdelaziz, and I'm a former Director of Public Health. I'm on my second career now as an executive coach and mentor, and I'm really pleased to have been part of this journey with CHAMP's Public Health Collaborative in developing the Connect, Learn, Thrive model. Sorry I couldn't be here for the launch, but I'm really pleased to see the models now come to life. And the segment I'm going to present today is around what does it mean for you as an individual? So as you know, Connect, Learn, Thrive for CHAMP's Public Health Collaborative is for all of us. And we come into public health from different backgrounds, different career routes. And you'd want to be asking yourself, where am I now and where next? So we created this resource guide for the careers pathway for Cheshire and Merseyside, because there's a lot of confusion about the different roles, the different routes and development opportunities. And we wanted to make sure that this resource was here for you, for everyone who works in Cheshire and Merseyside, whether you're directly part of the public health workforce or you are part of the wider public health workforce that's interested in improving health well-being and tackling health inequalities. So we've created one single pathway. This is to make sense of the different levels that people would start into public health at an entry level, right up to the top as a consultant or a director of public health. So what you'd be asking yourself is, where am I now? And what's the gap to where I want to get to? And it may be that all you want to do is to be absolutely brilliant at the job that you're currently doing. And there are others who are really interested in development opportunities that allow them to climb a career ladder. So I'm pleased to present a short animation that will give you an idea of the different ways in which you can develop in public health. And the most important part of it is how you develop your personal development plan. And by a personal development plan, that needs to cover your current job role, the 1 or 2 years that we're in now, your future career interest for the next 3 to 5 years, your area of special interest, for example, health protection, analytics, research, healthcare, public health, health improvement, the range of different specialty areas within public health. So that area of special interest is where you want to be well known for, you want to be really good at your job. And also, of course, work-life balance. And that's really important for the CHAMP's Public Health Collaborative to look after ourselves so that we can look after other people as well and deliver these public health programs for Cheshire and Merseyside. So I'm going to hand you back now to the event organizers. They're going to play you the short animation, and accompanying that animation, there is a guide that kind of like helps you look at the different resources that may be available for you. And I really hope that you embrace this within your own area of work for the teams and partnerships that you are working with. Over to you back. And let's watch the animation.
Connect, Learn, Thrive is the workforce development model of the CHAMPS Public Health Collaborative, designed to strengthen and support Cheshire and Merseyside's public health community.
We believe a thriving workforce is the key to creating healthier communities, and that's why we take a holistic approach to workforce development, one that values wellbeing, continuous growth and collaboration.
If you're new to public health or you want to progress in public health, you might be wondering, what's next for your career? Where are the opportunities?
People join public health from all sorts of backgrounds and experiences, and it's the mix of skills and perspectives that really make a difference. You could be part of the wider workforce, a practitioner or a specialist. But it's not just about qualifications. Real progress comes from experience.
That's where the Public Health Skills and Knowledge Framework helps. It's organised into 3 key areas: technical, context and delivery, covering the essential capabilities for public health professionals. It breaks down all the core competencies you need in public health, from entry level right up to specialist level, and it's a great tool to help you self-assess where you are now.
Once you know your level of competency and the direction you want to grow, this can help you choose the development opportunities that meet your competency gaps.
So, how can we help you get there? Let's take a look at the routes you can take to grow and progress in your career.
One way to build your career in public health is through the traditional ladder. You might start as a practitioner, build an evidence-based portfolio, and then move into specialist or consultant roles, if that's your goal. Along the way, you'll gain both skills and valuable experience. But development doesn't always mean climbing to the top. You might choose to specialise in one area or stay in a role you enjoy. If you're keen to progress faster, there are skills escalators that help you take bigger steps. For example, apprenticeships can start at level 2 and go right up to level 6, a degree apprenticeship. There are also continuing professional development opportunities locally, regionally and nationally to help you grow your knowledge and skills.
So, take a moment to think. Where are you now? Are you thriving or ready for change? Where did you start in public health and where do you want to go next? Which skills escalator could help you get there? Wherever you are on your journey, the Connect, Learn, Thrive model is here to guide your growth, support your well-being and help you build a thriving career in public health.
So what a fantastic video that is, and seeing so many of our colleagues from the local public health family contributing to it is amazing. I'd just like to thank Muna for providing us with that short introduction at the video. She is amazing. If you haven't met her and you want to progress with career, do drop her a line, get in touch through the CHAMPS website. She is so helpful. But to be fair, the rest of us are as well. So, you know, we are one public health family in Cheshire and Mersey. So let's work together to improve our career prospects and our approach to work-life balance. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Andy Turner, who's a consultant in public health with the Office for Health Improvement and Disparities North West. Andy's going to reflect on what a good work-life balance means to him, the importance of enjoying your work, and how to balance a passion for doing good with not burning out. Along the way, he'll share some of the lessons he's learned, mostly by getting it wrong first, like the rest of us. So, Andy, over to you.
Thank you, Helen. Next slide, please, Anthony. And apologies for my voice, I'm full of germs at the minute. Thanks for inviting me. So, as Helen said, I'm going to talk about work-life balance today, but I should probably start by saying that I'm not here as an expert or someone who's mastered it. This talk is more of a personal reflection on what happens when both work and home matter, both make demands on your time and your energy, and the idea of a neat balance starts to feel a little bit unrealistic. So I think we should kind of reframe the question that we often ask ourselves, and less about how can we do everything and more about how do we keep doing what matters without imploding. Thank you. Next slide, please. Thanks. Previous one. Thanks. So as Helen says, I'm a consultant in public health with Ohid Northwest. I'm also the Northwest Regional Workforce Wellbeing Champion for the Faculty of Public Health. So their workforce wellbeing network is chaired by Tracy Dashkevich, who's the president of the faculty. I'm really passionate about this. I won't go into a lot of details about that network here, but if you click on that link, when the slides are shared, there's lots of details there about the work of that network, spotlights on particular issues, links to resources, that kind of thing. I should also say I'm not here to give an official faculty position. As I say, most of what I'm saying here comes from personal experience of being a colleague, a manager, a parent, and someone who's got this wrong plenty of times. I've burnt out before and it's horrible. So anything I can do to help others avoid that, I'm very happy to do. Next slide, please, Anthony. Thanks. Okay, so the stuff you already know. This isn't a formal lecture, so I'm not going to spend a long time on the evidence because I suspect most of this will be familiar to you anyway. Work matters for well-being. You all know that. It contributes not just through income, but through giving you a purpose and identity, through the relationships, your development. But what's really important is the quality of work. And we know what that means as well. Things like manageable demands and workloads, a degree of control over what you do, good support, healthy relationships, a clarity of purpose, and change management done sensibly as well. These are all important. Working in public health, it does often feel like we are constantly in the middle of massive organisational change, and we are again, and that can be really stressful, particularly when it isn't delivered or managed well. And lastly, flexible working can help, but only when expectations are realistic. A flexible diary that is impossibly full is still impossibly full. Just mention that. Thank you. Next slide, please. So again, this is just a neat little diagram. I won't go through in massive detail. This is from the Work Wellbeing Playbook from the World Wellbeing Movement, which is a really good resource if you haven't seen it. But I just wanted to show you, I'm sure you know this already, that workplace wellbeing isn't just mindfulness apps. We know what drives it. We know what's important. Having opportunities to develop security in your own relationships with others, that autonomy, feeling fulfilled, and then obviously what you earn and your income and the kind of more traditional health and safety at work, all really important and contribute to job satisfaction, feeling good about yourself, having a purpose. It's more about the culture and how work is designed than it is about kind of the add-ons that sometimes get stuck onto work. And it's a win-win as well, because we also know that happier workers are healthier, they're more productive, and they're more likely to stay. So it's good for organisations as well to focus on well-being of workers. Thank you. Next slide. I just wanted to quickly reflect, though, on the word balance. We hear it quite a lot with work-life balance. Balance sounds calm and symmetrical, and if we just shift a few things around, everything will settle and be manageable. But it's not as easy as that. Work isn't just one thing for a start. It's meetings and emails and deadlines and relationships and uncertainty and responsibility. And home isn't one thing either. It's family, caring responsibilities, admin, money, bloody school WhatsApp groups. It's difficult. And for many people, particularly women, those responsibilities are still very evenly distributed. So often when we talk about balance, the problem isn't that one side is heavier than the other and we just need to rebalance it, but it's that both sides are overloaded and we are completely failing to balance two reasonable things. We're just trying to carry too much. Thanks, Anthony. Next. One of the things that I found hard is working in public health is when work matters, it expands. I love public health and I love public health people because it attracts people who care about stuff, which is great. But when the work matters, when it's meaningful, we want to do it, it's easy to keep making room for it. So it's saying yes to another meeting, or another email, another project, another chance to influence someone. And along with that, we're often asked to care deeply and professionally about problems that are massive and complex and long-term and only partially solvable by us as individuals. So this, so it's easy to expand into this. We never get to close our laptop and say, right, brilliant, I've completed public health and sorted health inequalities. And because of that, just one more thing becomes normal, and you can quite easily become overwhelmed without even meaning to. Thanks. Next slide. A few themes come up again and again through my work with the Faculty Wellbeing Champions Group as issues for the public health workforce. Firstly, as I've just said, people really care about their work, which is brilliant. It's a total strength, but can also make setting boundaries much harder. And secondly, workload is a big deal. The amount of work that we're asked to do is a big deal, obviously, but that's only part of the issue. People are also dealing with, yes, the volume of the work, but also ambiguity, confusion about roles and responsibilities, uncertainty, organisational change, unclear priorities, limited control to influence these things. So there's a load of stuff happening at the same time, which can make work difficult and knock our kind of balance out of whack. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just some things that help me. So these are not solutions, but they just help me a little bit. Work-life balance means different things to different people. So obviously, everybody will have to find their own way to cope and manage. But these are the things that help me when I remember to do them. Firstly, acceptance. So as an example, my email inbox, it used to feel like some kind of moral test that I was constantly failing. I used to get really stressed out by just the number of emails I get, and I couldn't read them all. But I have learned to accept that I just can't keep on top of all of them. I'm human. So I've shifted my perspective from must reply to everything to I'll do my very best. And if I miss something and it's that important, they'll email me again. And it just kind of gives yourself that permission to not be superhuman. The way I sometimes think about these things is, if I threw 100 pieces of paper at you and expected you to absorb all and respond to all of them, it's unrealistic, isn't it? But that's how we that's how we treat emails sometimes, I think. Tracy Daskovich, who I mentioned earlier, the president of the faculty, she's got a couple of post-it notes on her laptop. One of them says, inboxes were not invented to be empty. And the other one says, diaries are aspirational. So I think if it's okay for the president of the faculty to admit that she's not superhuman, then it's okay for the rest of us as well. And secondly, being honest with yourself and with others about your limits and your trade-offs. So that could be about when you're struggling, when you're fed up, when you need some help, but also just being honest about what you won't be able to do, what you can't fit in. And as I say, a good part of that as well is being honest to yourself. Another email example, I hate emails, as you can probably tell, is when I used to go on holiday, my out of office used to say, something along the lines of, I'm on holiday for 2 weeks, I'll reply when I get back. But I've changed it now. Now it says something like, I probably won't read any emails that are sent while I'm on holiday, so please email me once I get back. And it just kind of shifts that responsibility onto that other person. It's kinder to me, it's more honest to them, and it takes away a bit of that pressure and makes your time off. Proper time off, which leads on to the third point around protecting recovery. Recovery isn't just annual leave. Sometimes it's sleep, family, being outside, or just doing absolutely sod all for a bit. And that ties into that email thing as well. If you're spending your entire holiday hearing the emails coming in and waiting for you when you go back, it doesn't help you recover, and we all need to recover from what can often be stressful jobs. And lastly, talking to people. The world's changed a bit, hasn't it, in the last few years? We do a lot more things online now. It's easy to get lonely. I know I certainly do, working from home a lot more. So talking to people is really important. Because, Problems become easy to solve often over a cup of tea or a quick Teams call, rather than through 17 emails back and forth. But remember as well that, part of work and life is that it's fine to take time to have a chat with your workmates and have a laugh as well. That is important. It keeps you healthy, keeps you happy, keeps you good at work. Thanks. Next slide, please, Anthony. So some of my main messages that I kind of give to people and that I try to keep on board myself is, firstly, burnout. If you find yourself wondering whether you're burning out, then that's usually quite an important signal. I've ignored it a few times and it doesn't end well. It's far better to take a week or two off to recover than to push through it and then need a month or two off to recover. Secondly, I use this one quite a lot. You're not as important as you think you are. And that's not supposed to be flippant or minimizing anyone's value. It's just about realizing that not everything depends on us personally. As we've just seen, prime ministers resign and yet things carry on. Our work matters, but almost nothing is so urgent that it justifies damaging your health or your relationships. And lastly, look after yourself, and that helps you to look after others as well. Too many people only reset after they've burned out, after either they or a family members become ill, after a bereavement. Some of these really stressful life events that reminds people what actually matters in life. Now, again, work does matter, but so does everything else. And one of my wellbeing champion colleagues summed it up quite nicely when she said, "At work, we are usually replaceable. At home, we're not." And I thought that was a nice little line. Okay, my last slide, please, Anthony. Thanks. So before we go into the break, and then come back for a bit of a chat, I just wanted to leave you with a few questions. So I don't think there are any neat answers to these, but they're just something worth thinking about. So firstly, what are you treating as absolutely essential in work or life that might not be, that you could potentially let go, that isn't as important as you sometimes make out it is? What parts of your work and life give you energy and which parts drain it? I'm not unrealistic, but there are lots of things that we have to do which are hard work and draining, and that's fine. But you do need things that you find rewarding and fulfilling and engaging as well. And lastly, what permission do you need to give yourself? That could be to do something or to not do something. And what permission, you could also think, what permission do you need to give others as well to look after themselves, their health and well-being? So I will leave you to ponder those over the break. Thank you, and back to you, Helen. Cheers.
Thanks, Andy. That was brilliant as always, and I really respect and appreciate the honesty and candor that you've covered there. Really helpful. I mean, there's some great hacks in that conversation. So the email hacks around, I'm not going to check these emails, so email me again when I come back off leave. Informer's popped in the chat about her quirky inbox. I can only dread to think what that is, knowing Informer, but it's all good fun. And those hacks are really important because they help you stay on top of things. Just before we go into the break, I think my takeaway message from Andy is, know your bottom line. So my bottom line is, if I don't do this, is someone going to die? If I don't do this today, is someone going to die? And if the answer is no, then I'll probably put it off till tomorrow. So, it's knowing those kind of things that work for you in terms of keeping work manageable. It's really important. Otherwise, it just grows out of control. The final word I'd say on this, before I thank Andy, is, folks, listen, self-care is not selfish. And if there's one thing you take away from the well-being part of this talk today, I would say that's it. Self-care is not selfish. Be kind to yourself. It helps you be kind to others as well. So I just want to say a massive thanks to Andy, always entertaining, really enjoyed that chat. We've got time now to have a little break. We're going to take 5 minutes out, some screen time. Please walk away from the screen, get a brew, just to sort of reflect on your current work-life balance. What would you like it to be, and how could Connect, Learn and Thrive support this shift? So when we come back, we're going to be picking up some of this in a discussion. It's going to be a group discussion, not breakout. Welcome back, everybody. You've had an extra minute on the wellbeing break, so how kind of me. I hope you made the most of it. We're going to have some interactive discussion now around our reflections on what we've heard so far today, our thoughts, maybe how we manage our own work-life balance, what keeps us sane in difficult times, and anything else that you want to raise in terms of the Connect, Learn, Thrive model. So just my own reflections on this morning is we're all very different people, but we're all part of a public health family in Cheshire and Mersey. And nationally, I think we probably are the tightest public health family. And that's in no small thanks to Champs, who kind of coordinate a lot of work on our behalf across the patch. So it's been interesting to hear about people's differences, different perspectives, how we manage things on a day-to-day basis, and also look after our own well-being. So I'll open up the floor now. Now, Champs colleagues will help me manage hands up and various things in the chat, because I can never manage it all myself, and I'm on my laptop, which makes it even more difficult. So the first thing I've got is something in the chat. Not sure who from, that's been cut off, but many of us still really enjoy and feel committed to our work, but the pace has significantly accelerated since COVID. It often feels like that intensity hasn't reset, and as a result, things like learning and development are the first to be squeezed out. The question is, how do we regain some control of that pace rather than just absorbing it? So people who know me and are in meetings with me a lot will have a quiet snigger here. So I insist that on any meeting I have, there's 10 minutes free. So it's not a full hour. It starts at 5 past and it ends at 5 to, so that you're not in back-to-back meetings all the time. We all went through COVID where, you know, you didn't even get time to go to the loo in the daytime because it was so full on, wasn't it? And you're right, we haven't come back full circle to where we were before. We might never, but there are small things about, for me, taking control of stuff that I can control. And that odd meeting times, which takes a bit of getting used to for people that aren't used to it, especially if they don't know me that well. But it really protects me, and it allows me to get up and move around for 5-10 minutes between meetings, which apart from not wanting to get bed sores, is really, really important to me, because I've got a bad back. So getting up and moving every now and then is really critical, and I'm really selfish about it. So some of it is about being confident enough to stand your ground and make those changes that will help you. So I'll bring Laurie in, if that's okay.
Thank you. I think this is really positive, and it'd be good to have something maybe in like a resource that maybe, you know, so that some colleagues can give themselves permission to do those things. Because certainly from my own experience, I sometimes need permission to do that, or that, and then I will take, you know, I will prioritize my well-being. So I think this is really, really positive, and something that can be utilised in the public health team across Cheshire and Merseyside. I have got a question about the learning aspect. So with my experience, I'm ADHD, and I also a chair of a differently able group at Cheshire East Council, and quite a lot of mainly women are coming through with late diagnosis of ADHD, and that does, for me personally, affects my learning. So is there any consideration with learning support when it comes to the career progression that you spoke about, the practitioners courses that you talked about? Is that something that you're looking at in relation to not just ADHD, but, you know, learning needs like dyslexia and autism?
I'll answer what I can, Laurie, and other colleagues on the call might be closer to this than me, but the short answer is yes. We are very cognizant that the public health workforce, like other workforces, are very diverse, and that includes, you know, learning needs, styles of learning, particular characteristics. So there is always that recognition. In terms of what practically is being done, I'm not close to the detail. So I'm just wondering if Tracy or Ryan or anyone else on the call, Lucy perhaps, is closer to what Moona's been doing around that.
It's Lucy. I think it's fair to say, Laurie, that we have had conversations, but we haven't actually actively developed that side of our thinking. I think what might be helpful, and if you're open to it, is that we actually link up outside of this meeting and have a conversation about some of those elements, if you'd be happy to support, and we can start to look at that a little bit further.
Yeah, I can certainly link it with the differently able group as well. It's not just me. So yeah,
Yes.
I've just realised, I think, did people meant to put the questions in the chat, and I've just put my hand up?
No, it was
it's
hands up
either
as
or.
well.
Okay.
You've done wonderfully, Laurie, so thank you. No, there'll be other groups as well and other local authorities, and maybe it's doing a bit of a link up of all those elements and see what we can pull together. So I will contact you. Thank you.
Happy to support. I'll put my email in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laurie. I mean, it's a really, really critical point, and so welcome. So that's a good action for us going forward in terms of developing the Connect, Learn, Thrive programme. And just in terms of permission that Laurie raised just now around permission to look after yourself, a lot of that, it's easy for me to say. I'm a director of public health. It's easy for me to build 10 minutes into my calendar, and people will comply with that because I make them. When you're not in that kind of position, it can be more tricky. And so a lot of that, I think, is how you broach that subject potentially with your manager, because you may be in a position, some of you colleagues, where you feel you need a conversation with your manager to be able to do those sorts of things. Most people I know in public health are pretty reasonable. So if you are suggesting things like that for your well-being, I think your managers are likely to be receptive to it, because it's in their interest to keep you well. Is the bottom line. And they want you to be a healthy and functioning adult that's productive at work. So I think I would encourage you to have those conversations with your manager. And if you don't feel that you're able to, then it's probably worth talking to a trusted colleague within or without the organisation to see what their approach might be and where they can help you as well. Oh, Ryan, go on.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just going to mention that I'm going to post an article in the chat from the Harvard Business Review. So this was something that came up as part of the Leader as Coach pilot as well. And it's sort of around that idea of you can manage your energy and not your time, because time is a finite resource, but your energy can sort of dip up and down. And it's quite a long article, but so there was a bit of a scientific study behind it as well, where they did a sort of a study with a load of different workers based in America, and there were some really interesting outcomes that came from it. But I think there's definitely some things that I personally took from that. I think others can as well, in terms of understanding sort of when your energy is at its best and how you can adapt around that as well. So an example is that for me, I tend to have my most energy first thing in the mornings. That's kind of my email time to blast out loads of emails, and then sometimes it can dip after lunchtime. So I think I'll post it in the chat, and I do think it's really interesting, and it's worth taking the time to read it.
That's really helpful, Ryan. Thank you. And similarly, my energy is highest in the morning. So actually, I don't do emails. I go to the gym and do what I want to do for me. And then by the time I get to work, I sit down and do a few emails, but I use most of my energy. So it's just what works for you, isn't it? And public health does tend to be quite a flexible job. So it's about managing your time, going where your energy is, and worry about what you can change and do what you can change rather than what's out of your control. Okay. I just want to thank the speakers for supporting today's launch event. I think it's been a really helpful event. There's been some really excellent comments, some good hacks in there. The comments from Laurie about sort of neurodiversity, etc. I think there's a lot to learn and there's a lot to do going forward. And also, we might, if you've got good hacks around keeping well at work, getting the most out of work, send them in to us and let's create a bit of a toolkit around that. So as I've said, thank you to the speakers, but also thank you colleagues on the call, delegates who've attended today's session. You will receive a post-event digital goodie bag, which will include the Connect, Learn, Thrive personal development plan that Muna referred to. It's a really, really useful tool. You'll also get the links to the animation and the pathway, so you can watch that again at your leisure. Case studies, training and events pages. So do look out for that. And then just in terms of closing, really, I just want to reflect back. It's been great for us to get together. Thank you for your energy and contributions. We've heard that this is more than just a programme, it's a shared commitment across Cheshire and Merseyside to support our wellbeing and the development of our public health workforce. For me, today's reinforced 3 key messages around connection, around learning and around how to thrive. So thank you once again for your participation and the important work you do every day. I think together through connecting, learning and thriving, we can continue to make Cheshire and Merseyside the very best place to practice public health and improve the lives of not only ourselves, but our communities. So thanks for today and see you all again another time. Bye now.